Hey you guys, it's me Gemstone at tarotforhealing.com. I hope you guys are doing really well. This is the Prince reading. It's taken me a while to do this reading and upload it and all this other stuff. It's taken ages. I intended to do it like closer to the time of when he actually passed away. Um, so yes, but it's better late than never. But what I've done is usually when I do a mediumship reading, for one, I only do mediumship readings with spirits that I really feel drawn to and connected with. I don't do it just for any old spirits because I just don't believe in connecting with any and everything that is out there because um yeah, some spirits can, I honestly believe like some spirits kind of can attach themselves to you and make it kind of difficult for them to go away and all this other stuff. And so in that case I just wouldn't want to be tampering with any spirits that are going to be mischievous. But what I've decided to do is I have done almost like a Celtic cross but without the stick part. I usually do a cross shape when I do mediumship because I just find that the messages seem to come through better that way for some reason than when I just lay them out, without doing the cross first. But what I've done is I've actually done a little bit of both. I did the cross first, then I laid out some because I found his reading just really fascinating with what was kind of coming through. Now with the cross shape, I kind of feel like it wasn't really so much indicating about his past life per se, but it was really much talking about his life that he spent on earth while living. And the card that showed up in the middle, which I always sort of value as being the central card or the central focus of the reading, is the Nine of Pentacles. And it's so funny, which I kind of feel like the image, the colors on the cards are a little bit different because of the way the computer is picking them up. Because I think you guys are probably going to think that this person is wearing red, but they're actually wearing, or like a burgundy is sort of looking like, but they're actually wearing purple. And that was Prince's color. And I just love the fact that his association with the color purple, because I think that really describes him and his whole vibe. Like he had a very high vibrational vibe, almost like somebody out of this world. Like he was an earthly being, but he had this energy and vibe about him that was like highly spiritual and just on another level. Like literally like that crown chakra purple kind of connection. And I think that that is what really helped him and inspired him, and I think that's the reason why people looked up to Prince so much in terms of his contribution to music and his level of creativity and artistry, because of the fact that he was able to reach a level of creativity that was just, again, out of this world, and something, and bring in a vibe and a level of uniqueness that really just wasn't seen before him. And I think with that, like, this card really does, I guess, embody his career in that sense, in that like this person is wearing a mask, can represent a bit of a showman in that way, but then it also represents with the Nine of Pentacles more traditional meaning. I feel like how it connects with him is being your own person, because this card really represents an independent person, a person that knows what they're doing. They know they can take control of situations. They know what they're trying to produce, and they're really powerful at manifestation energy. So I'm truly, and I'm not even playing with you guys, I honestly believe this to be the truth. I believe that Prince was a magician in this lifetime. Like, I really believe he was. I literally believe that he was probably one of those people that found it very, very easy to manifest his desires, the things that he wished for himself. And because again, he just had that, he was able to tap into that high vibrational energy that just makes it so much easier to kind of bring what you want to you and have it come to you automatically. And funnily enough, the magician card actually did make an appearance while I was shuffling through the cards, but it didn't end up being in like the final selection because I kind of like brought it down a bit. But I think that just sort of was an added confirmation. And I also think that the mask on this person's face really also shows how mysterious he was as a character, as a person as well. Because it's like, even though he was extremely famous, he did keep a lot to himself. Like, he wasn't the kind of person that all his business was out in the media, and he just wasn't like that. And I think he really kept sort of his personal life, and his professional life. And so everything that he kind of put out there, you kind of got the impression that he wanted it kind of to be put out there, um yeah. So again, it's very strong vibes, really strong in terms of his own abilities, and using those to generate an income for himself, to generate success and wealth and all that kind of stuff, because this card also is associated with riches and money and earnings as well. So in that case, I feel like that is a really good representation of him, like to kind of begin the reading off. um the cards that are showing up on either side, this was an interesting one. The Four of Pentacles, and I kind of feel like it is sort of connecting with the message that I got the very first time I laid down some cards for him closer to the time when he passed away. Is that I really got this feeling that when he passed, he wasn't happy still with things that was going on in his career, looking back, and even in its present state. I kind of got the feeling that he was um I think that honestly he felt shortchanged by the music industry a lot. And I think, like, when he went through that whole phase of, having like slave written on himself and all this kind of stuff, I think that really it really wasn't just a phase. It was something that he truly felt. And I think even up until when he passed away, he still kind of felt that way. I think he kind of felt very limited by the music industry and what they allowed for him to really put out there. And then I think there was, especially being issues of, financial things being wrapped up with like recording contracts and all this kind of stuff. I kind of did feel that, he, just like this card, you can see this person is hoarding what they have. It's almost like he hoarded a lot of his own creations for that reason. It's almost like he was very protective over what he created, and he really didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands. And I kind of find that it's interesting about how, in the papers, the media, they're talking about his I think it's like his company, like suing Jay-Z's company over some things to do with like his music and things like this. And so it's like even in his passing, he's still quite protective over his own material. And I think that definitely in that sense, Prince was, if you can't say anything about him, he was definitely a true artist, because he really valued his creations highly. And I think for that reason, he always kind of wanted to make sure he was represented in the way that he wanted, and almost like his music was portrayed in a way that he wanted also. It's like he wanted a lot of creative license over his over what he produced. And he was a true producer in that sense. He did so much in terms of like writing music, creating music, playing instruments, all these kind of things. He was definitely very multi-talented in that sense. And it's funny that a lot of the cards that have shown up in his cross are actual pentacle cards. And pentacle cards, it represents a lot of success in this lifetime, a lot of abundance in his lifetime. So it's almost like saying that that's what he came into the world to create. He came into the world to be a magician, to manifest, to create, to definitely show the world what he had to produce and give onto the world. And he definitely had a lot of followers and admirers, and that's what you see in his final card with the King of Wands. And you can see like these little they look almost like little children, very interesting looking children, around, I guess, what essentially could be him, which is almost like having followers, people that really are drawn to what you do, people that again having fans, people that are admire you for what you do. And being the king of wands, the king of wands is definitely a like a person that would be like a self-starting person, almost like they will be the first to create something or to come out with something or produce something. So in that sense, you can kind of understand why people would have been drawn to him, almost like a moth to a flame, because of the fact that people would just be in awe with whatever he would produce, because again they hadn't seen it before. Wands is also a very creative energy as well. Cups is creative, wands is very creative. And so with that one's energy and being very ambitious and having loads of energy, so it's like a being a powerhouse. And I kind of get that impression from these cards that's been pulled. And then he also has the Ace of Pentacles, so the Ace of Pentacles connects with generating, obviously, other forms of income, other forms of ways of creating stability in your life in general. And then he has the Three of Pentacles also showing up as well. And the Three of Pentacles usually represents working alongside others and building with others, creating with others. It's about the working in a group as a team, in a team effort. So what I would kind of say, like those additional cards, how they play into things is, I think, let me see. Yeah, that's kind of what I see on those initial cards. It's just representing like a lot of that kind of energy, or that's very production orientated, being very careful, being very wanting to hold on to things, not wanting to share or give away too much in some kind of ways, but always and forever being creative in what he was doing. So that was just something that really just came natural to him all the time. And it's like, the king of wands would be like a person that is definitely like a showman, somebody that people would look up to, would admire, would definitely put in very high let me say look up to with high regard in that kind of sense. The more interesting thing that I see in his cards is when I pulled additional ones, it gave a very different story. And this story was something that I found very, very, like, it took me back when it came up, because initially I had, it took me a while to know what to make of it, because it was showing me a person. And now this is why I was really interested in the Prince readings and stuff like that, because I did a reading and a person showed up within his cards that I was like, who is this individual? But it was a woman. And I remember going on Facebook, and there's a number of different tarot groups that I'm connected with, and somebody else had pulled cards, and a woman appeared in her reading also. And then I was thinking, what is it about this woman and, his death? Like, what is the situation? And then that's when a person, I guess that was like a big Prince fan and stuff, was saying who it probably was. And so I'll go through the cards and then I'll reveal like that in a bit. And so the first card was the Ace of Wands. So this gave me the impression that this kind of person that was showing up is someone that there was definitely this feeling of love with this person. Like, I'm more not so looking at the traditional meaning of the cards, but how they're interacting, of this sort of where this person is like holding this baby and stuff like that. It kind of gave me this feeling that there was this kind of relationships that was really caring. And yes, there was a creativeness surrounding this relationship, in terms of that I think that this person was an entertainer, or this person had a similar was in the similar field to him, because he showed up even in this one as the King of Wands. So I was kind of feeling like there was a fieriness that connected the two of them with each other, and a passion, and their passion could have both been for the same things, whether it was music, entertaining, and that kind of thing. And then you kind of see with the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles is sort of, represents kind of balance and, moderation too, and that kind of thing. But what I kind of was seeing this as is maybe the two people together, what it meant for them to be together. Maybe they balanced each other out. Maybe there was a sense of support in that kind of sense that existed between these two people. But then the interesting thing was, in this card with the Five of Swords, it was kind of making me think that something was taken away, something was gone. And so, yeah, that's when I was feeling like this person is gone, this woman is gone. And then the Empress kind of confirms again that this is a woman, and this is a woman that made a big impression on Prince, and they must have, because it keeps on showing up in his readings for some reason. Like, this person, they made a very big impression. That's why I was in the very beginning, I was like, is this his mother? Like, who is this person? But then I don't think it's so much like a mother figure. I think it's just somebody that the cards are showing that there was something special between the two of them. And again, the Empress represents that same kind of caring, nurturing, loving kind of vibe about her as well. And then but then it was showing like there may have been some kind of conflicts, or maybe issues, something that presented itself that kind of creating like a button of heads. But then there was love that was still there, and love that was still existing between these two individuals. And then it's like in their passing, they were able to reconnect again, and visit each other, see each other, because the same way we interact in this physical realm, spiritual beings interact in the very same way when they cross over. So this person definitely had a connection, like a family feeling, and an association, and this card can represent legacy. So I feel like him and this person like went back quite a few years. So they were like old friends. And I believe who the person was more than likely Vanity, who Vanity passed away not that long before Prince did. And I really truly felt that the energy that was coming from the readings was showing like how much he loved her, how much he really cared about her. And even it makes sense that the Two of Swords showed up, because him and Vanity, which is funny because I laid the cards out first, and my mind is kind of like, my memory is just not the best. So I was like, okay, what was the person's name again? And I forgot Vanity's name, and I just looked it up now to see like what the name was. And then I see like the first post that comes up basically indicated that Vanity and Prince had a time when they weren't on good terms with each other. And so I think that's where, looking at the cards, that's where the two swords are coming from, where they had an issue with each other. There was like this falling out, but then the Ace of Cups showed that it's almost like they were able to heal that. Whether they healed that in the physical world, they were definitely able to heal that like once they both were passed over, which I think was really beautiful. And I think that it really did have an impact on him dealing with her death. And I wanted to clarify too about this person to go a bit even further. And the cards that showed up is the Seven of Wands with the Three of Swords with the Six of Cups. And so I think that's where a lot of the, we see a lot of the hurt coming from on his part, because again, there was a history, because this can represent when you've known somebody for a very long time, like a very dear friend, very close friend. So that really connects nicely with the Ten of Pentacles. And then there is also this feeling of not wanting to deal with something that you've heard of or experienced, or that you're being faced with, is kind of being a bit defensive. So maybe when somebody brought the news to him about her passing, he might have been a bit in denial about it, or found it very difficult to process the news. And that's where a lot of the sadness came from. and the hurt feelings and stuff like that. So he really mourned like her death, and it was very sad for him. And he had memories of the past, memories of what they did in the past or how they worked together, and like you can see, they're in a play in this interpretation. And so it's almost like they may have been thinking about the good times that they spent on stage together, entertaining people and stuff like that. And so I found his reading to be very touching. And I think, so many people, especially when he passed away, were talking about how generous he was, how much he did for other artists and everything, whether it was helping them with their careers, even helping them in their personal lives, like Lauren Hill when she was going through her problems and things, how he had reached out to her and her family and everything, made sure her kids were taken care of and things like that. So I think that he was definitely a very sweet soul. And I think that he was definitely very much missed, and I believe he still is in the industry today. And I think it's just really great that somebody like him can make their mark on the world by, coming out and producing music that so many people love, and that can still exist even though they're not in this plane anymore. But I think the nice thing about his reading, being that it was his outcome card was the King of Wands, it shows that he's still a king even in the afterlife, which is so typical, kind of, you would expect that of Prince, kind of thing. He was a bit of a Devo in that sense. So it's like you can still see that he's still reigning supreme wherever he is. And again, he's still on that high vibe energy because he's that one's energy. So it's just a really beautiful way to kind of conclude the reading. I'll be seeing you guys. Bye.